Here we go. Okay, welcome to Seasons Women's Podcast, the show that is raw, real, and uncut. This show will have everything that a well seasoned woman is looking for. Seasoned women will be highlighting people from the ACT and all across the country. No topics are off limits. Seasoned women, we're going to make it make sense. I'm just saying. My name is Mary Dean, and I am the host of Seasoned Women. And my guest today is Dr. Alethia Tucker. Did I say your name right, Alethia?
Yes, Alethia, you were close.
Alethia. I was close. Thank you for being my guest today. I'm really honored. I see some of the things that you be doing on Facebook, and I love to share it. What you do, and I wish I was closer so I can, uh, uh, join in on some of the events that you be doing. It seems like y'all be having a lot of fun.
We do. I wish you were closer too. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you. You
absolutely.
often share my stuff, so it's great to finally connect with you one on
Right,
one.
right. It's always good to put a face with a voice or a voice with a face, so
Yes.
it's always good to do that. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dr. Tucker.
Sure. So I call myself a reinvention strategist. I help women. My niche is really women 45 plus who, at that age you kind of start to hit a different season, children may be graduating, you may be starting to think about retirement yourself, thinking about, what are some of the things that you may not have done that you really want to do. So I
Mhm.
work with those women to find out those questions, to find the answer to those questions. So whether it be trying to change things personally or professionally, I coach them through those things. I'm both a life coach and a career coach. My human resources experience spans easily 18 plus years. So I'm really at a good position to be able to help these women with that. I'm also a speaker and an author. I am determined that I'm going to help every woman I can to be all they can be and to help their voices to be heard.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that because I was going to ask you about that. It says that you are a speaker. I'm just wondering if you are a motivational speaker or inspirational speaker, and that you're a coach or you're a life coach, and then that you have written a book, which is titled 50 Things I've Learned on My Way to 50, Speaking My Truth. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about speaking your truth and what is that all about?
Sure, I sure can. Well, you were asking if I motivational or inspirational. I think that our stories in some way motivate somebody. If it's just simply to say, hey, you know what? I've done something that you've done and I made it through. Or I found out how to tackle something that you're trying to learn how to tackle. So our stories are for us, of course, but they're also meant to help somebody else.
Mhm.
So if when I talk it's inspirational, that's the reason, probably because I'm hoping to do that. I hope to provide some inspiration based on what I've learned,
Mhm.
and try to help other women to get through, some of the mistakes, some of the lessons that I've learned, some of the things that went really well. Tell them about that too.
Mhm.
My book really was birthed when I was approaching 50.
Mhm.
And that's been about 8 years ago now. So
Okay.
I was approaching 50 and I wanted to do a big birthday party because, 50 is a huge milestone. So I said, well, I want to do a party. And honestly, I just got to the point where I was putting way too much thought into it. I wanted something unique. I wanted a gift that everybody would have. And I wanted the party to have something that was different. And I really thought about it and prayed about it. And God just kind of whispered to me, the fact that you made it to 50, that's big enough.
Mhm.
So
Uh-huh.
then I came up with the idea of, you know what? I made it to 50. Let me tell maybe a few lessons I learned on the way. So I did this bookmark that I had on everyone's placemat, and that began the whole, the snowball effect of the bookmark turning into something that was really inspirational for women. That inspiration, they encouraged me, and I ended up writing a book. So I turned a bookmark from my 50th birthday into a book with my lessons and the scriptures that support those lessons. So that's basically how I got started as an author.
Okay, okay. And as one author to another, congratulations.
Thank you. Same to
Yeah.
you.
Uh, with the events, you just had a big event this past weekend, right?
Yes.
And so what was that all about? Was it just a gathering of women? Did y'all have keynote speakers? What was the topics? Could you kind of, give us a little insight on what it was all about, what your event was all about?
Absolutely. Reinvented to Rise was, I believe that was my third book. I have six
Mhm.
books now.
Oh,
My
wow.
anthology started with Reinvented to Rise, and that happened about 2 years ago now, maybe close to three, where I knew that I had been through some things that caused me to reinvent my thoughts, how I thought about things, reinvent some of the things that I did professionally, how I approached, business, how I approached living, period. And I said, well, if I was able to reinvent and rise, I know there's some other women out there who have stories of reinvention too.
Mhm.
Thus began this movement of Reinvent to Rise. I put out an author call for women who had basically done that, reinvented in some way, and rose as a result of making that change. So that was the first book. And I decided then that we would do a second book. And now the decision has been made that Reinvented to Rise now is just going to be volumes of books with different themes. So the
Mhm.
second book came about last year. I put out another call, and this one came close around the time when I lost someone very dear to me, a cousin of mine who passed away, who was really more like my little sister. She passed away from complications of COVID.
Wow.
That really had a negative effect, of course, on her underlying conditions that she had. Although she was vaccinated, she was not able to overcome these things. And she was really probably one of the strongest people that I know. You didn't know that she had underlying conditions, and she was strong and she was courageous. And that's what the second volume is really geared towards. That's the theme of the second book. So, what I
Mhm.
did with that one, Reinvented to Rise, stories of women who were courageous and persevered and were confident. And in addition to doing the anthology, I decided that I would also have them to tell their story. So thus we did the documentary. So it was the
Wow.
book and the documentary. And the most recent event was the documentary screening, where I had all the women who were in the book to come together for the screening that was held at the Alamo Theater in Washington, D.C. They were there, as well as some trailblazers, women who made some real marks in in our history. The
Mm.
first woman to serve on the Eighth Judicial Court in Baltimore. We had Barbara Williams Skinner. She and her husband were the ones who founded the National Black Caucus event. And then we had Dr. Zena Pierre, who was the first ordained minister, female ordained minister in her church. And she was also a high ranking official in the Clinton administration. So
Wow.
we had all of these women to come together last weekend for an absolutely phenomenal event. And it was more than I could have ever imagined it was going to be. It was wonderful.
Sounds like an awesome event. I'm telling
Yes.
you. Yeah, your book kind of reminds me of the book that I wrote, The Black Legends of Kansas. And a
Mm.
lot of women that's in my book are the first, like Olitha Godot was the first Black senator ever, woman, in the state of Kansas. So, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Another question. Oh, I know you're saying that you get women together to reinvent themselves or have reinvented themselves.
Hmm.
Have they, what kind of journeys have they gone on to, get them to the point where they are? What did it involve, any mental or stress or trauma in order to get them where they wanted to be, where they are now?
Absolutely. Let me tell you, all of our journeys are different. And
Yes.
these women, the stories across the two books are absolutely mind blowing in many instances. We had one who made it through the horrible hurricane that just ravaged and tore up Puerto Rico. She
Mhm.
lived there, months without water and power. And we had someone who made it through that. We had one who made it through an accident where just about everyone else in the car passed away except for her. She lived to tell about it. We have someone who went through great mental anguish and really, really suffered and had to go through so much to be able to pull herself out of those trenches, to be able
Mhm.
to just survive,
Right.
just
Yes.
survive through life. And then, women who were dealing with job situations, family situations. When I say that these faces look like you and me, that's what I was trying to do. I wanted women who had gone through just an array of things so that women could look, any woman could look even at the cover or read about one of those stories and be able to identify and say, you know what, this resonates with me. This was me. And
Yes.
that's what Reinvented to Rise is really about.
Let me ask you another question. I know when me and a group of women started Black Women Empowered in Wichita, we got a
Mm,
lot of flack behind using Black. And
mm.
so we were told we should be more inclusive. Have the women that you deal with, or they or are they just a variety of women of different hues, or what?
Well, the last one predominantly, well, no, the last one, the most recent one, we were all Black. We are all Black women. The first one was not. I'm not really gearing it towards a particular color. I feel like we've all been through something, but that's not to say that it is wrong to develop a book that accentuates, the plight that the Black woman has taken. Or I think it's strictly up to the author. So I would encourage you, if that is where your heart has led you and that's what you want to do, absolutely. I haven't really geared mine in a particular direction. I pray and I'm like, Lord, whoever comes forward, and if I feel that this is the person who should be in the book, then they get in the book. Like I said, but it did happen this time that all of the women who are in this book are African American. We're all Black.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
So another question. I'm full of questions. Another
That's
question.
fine.
Uh, when you have your events and whatever, are they events that you recognize women, their accomplishments? Uh, uh, how do you do that? I mean, do y'all just come together to talk about who's in the book, or you just come and you recognize women who have done awesome things within their community or whatever? How do you do? What do y'all do?
In the last 2 years, I have begun to recognize women who display or who show some characteristics of an award that I've affectionately named the Kimmy Award, which is named after my cousin who passed away.
Okay.
And it's the woman who shows, that she has reinvented to rise, you know, above circumstances. This year, we honored someone who showed confidence, perseverance, and real character. And she came and we honored her during the screening a couple of weekends ago now. And
Mhm.
she told her story, one of growing up in foster care and with a serious disability where they did not believe that she was going to make it past her first couple months of living. Parents were addicted, and how she
Mhm.
rose out of all of that, to be not only just a citizen, in her right mind and working through things, but just one who persevered, who was able to go and get degrees and help to bring her sister out of the foster care system, and is now an advocate for those who are disabled. And the year before, I recognized a woman who had done great things in her community. So
Mhm.
definitely, we want to do that. We want to recognize them. I think that's important because that's also a part of what kind of holds us back. We don't always get recognized for the great
Absolutely.
things that we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If someone that does not live in your part of the country, uh, can they be a part of what you do? Do y'all have meetings or, virtual meetings that are for people women who may be interested in being a part of what you're doing?
Absolutely. I have a society that's called the Journey Society, which is on Facebook. It's
Mm.
free and open to any and every, all women. Again, my niche is kind of 45 and above, but I
Okay.
don't turn away anybody who wants to be a part of the group. And I do things on that particular Facebook group where we do monthly things. I have monthly talks, I have a monthly speaker, and I'm trying to encourage more women to join up. Last year, we were even doing some virtual things where we got together, shared stories, and made bath products all virtually. They all had kits that I sent out. So it's an opportunity for the women to get together to still hear stories and not have to hear them in an environment where we have speakers and we're doing some type of event, but something where we can just come together and say, hey, you know what, right now, I'm on a job that is really, really taking me through. And someone else can say, you know what, I'm experiencing the same things. Let me
Mhm.
tell you how you can get through this. So, something where we have the smaller communities too. I also have the communities of smaller journey shares where we get together and do that. Now, that is local. We'll get together and we'll have a meal and we'll discuss a topic. So I definitely do things that are virtual. And one day, hopefully one day soon, I will be able to branch off and have little journey shared communities all across the country where people, yeah, people in different cities, will be able to come together
Yeah,
and do just what I'm talking about now that I do online.
that sounds great. It really does. What about men? Are men encouraged to just be a part of maybe attending your events, not so much joining in your group, your share groups, but attending the events to support the women in their lives or,
Sure.
sister, wives, whatever.
Yes. So this past one, of course, the documentary screening, definitely men were in attendance. Last year, the conference was more themed around pampering and feeding the souls of women. So that one we didn't have men so much. However, my husband is my biggest advocate and my biggest helper. So he was there. He was helping to pull meals together. This time around, he was there again. So he has been actually at all of my events. So if there is ever a man in the event, it's definitely him. It's a
Wow,
family affair.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, do you have any encouraging words for women before, we end this? Do you have anything that could uplift a woman that's down and out, feels bad about herself, and want to reinvent herself but just don't know how?
Let me tell you, I always say this to women, and that is we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. And that's what scripture tells us.
Mm.
You know, if God wanted us all to be exactly the same, we would all have the same skin color, the same hair type, the same eyes, the same build, and that would be a pretty boring world,
Right.
honestly. So he has made us individually. He has taken that time to put that special thing in us. We all have unique imprints. I say it is there to make a difference. Go out and realize that your imprint is special. My way of doing things does not look like your way, and it's for a reason, because how you get things accomplished is a way in which you're going to be able to encourage somebody else to get things accomplished. We all have a mission and a job that we need to do, just as human beings, is people created by God. He does not do things just by happenstance. We are here for a reason. We, no matter how we feel about anything else that goes on in this world, we can't let it dictate how we feel about ourselves, because we are
Amen.
unique. We have to
Amen.
be encouraged. And I
Yes.
always say this too: to reinvent and to change does not have an age limit on it. You can't say that you have to do something by 40 or by 50, 60. You go up the chain.
Mm.
It is never too late to reinvent, to get to where you want to be, to fulfill that purpose that God has already prepared you to fulfill. You just have to walk in it, find out what that is, and move in that direction.
Oh, come on now. Say it. I love it. I love it.
That is
Okay.
what I say. That's what I believe.
Yes. Okay, Dr. Tucker, how can people get in contact with you? Do you have a website, or I know you got a Facebook page, but could you tell people
Yeah.
how they can get in contact with you?
Yes. So the name of my company is Jolese. That is JOLEASE Enterprises. So my website is joleseenterprises.com. Also, to get in touch with me, it's my first initial A and my last name Tucker at joleseenterprises.com. I
Okay.
also have some things that you can do online. I have an online portal that you can do things at your own pace and go through some of the programs, and that is at alethiatucker.com.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Tucker, for being a guest on Seasoned Women, and I feel uplifted just listening to what you do. You have
Oh,
inspired me. So thank you for being a guest, and I'll keep sharing your stuff.
thank you so, so much. And I can't wait. We're going to do something together soon. We're going
Okay.
to make it happen.
We're gonna make it happen. Okay. Thank you, Dr.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.